Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com back with some Pittsburgh Steelers breakdown and analysis. Did a tier video in the Steelers position groups about a week or so ago. Got some pretty good feedback on that, so wanted to try my hand at another tier video today, expanding things out just a little bit to do something a little unique for this channel here in the offseason. I promise this won't be much of a habit, but ranking all 16 teams in the AFC. To recap, if you're unfamiliar with the tier list, S tier is the best tier, the A plus tier, and then of course A, B, C, and D. So let's rank all 16 teams of the AFC. We'll start here with the New England Patriots, and a team I think moving in the right direction overall. They have their franchise quarterback in Mac Jones. The AFC East, not ultra competitive. Buffalo, of course, still at the top here, but a solid team, good coaching. Some question marks about who's going to run the show offensively. Is it Bill Belichick? Is it Joe Judge? So a little bit of question marks there, but I'll put this in the Patriots in the B tier here because they're going to be a solid team that's going to be competitive, and you can almost write that in pen. Baltimore, I know won't have a lot of Ravens fans here, and they weighing down the stretch, but had so many injuries to their offensive line, to of course Lamar Jackson, to their running back room, which was decimated before they even took a regular season snap. I think defensively they're going to be in a better place. Their cornerback room was a mess last year, so assuming they can have and show some level of health, I'm going to put them into A tier. Next, we'll look at the New York Jets, and obviously a lot dependent on Zach Wilson, his progression, mixed reports in the spring, and you take those with a grain of salt. Can Makai Becton be healthy, be a presence for them? Will they have enough help at the skill positions? That's going to be a big question overall. But this team still a ways away. I think Wilson's development not super encouraging, and so they're going to be in D tier. Flipping over to the other AFC East team in the Buffalo Bills, and definitely going to be one of the top competitors of the AFC with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Trey White. They did lose Levi Wallace to Pittsburgh, but overall, it's a really solid team, top to bottom. Good coaching, good management. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, arguably the most underrated safety combination in football. So just a really good team overall. And when you have Josh Allen, you're always going to have a chance. So they're going to be an S tier. Now you get to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I won't save them for the end and make you guys wait the whole way through. You guys saw my tier rankings in the previous video that focused just on Pittsburgh, but gonna put them in C tier as an average team in that, you can call it basically, 500 sort of range. I don't know exactly where I'm gonna come in on a prediction for them, and those things kind of meaningless to me. But bottom line is the uncertainty with the quarterback play, uncertainty with the offensive line puts a lot of pressure on the other parts to really step up and not have injuries and play to the level they need to play. And in AFC North, even not knowing Deshaun Watson's status for the season, but AFC North, AFC with some really established top tier quarterback play. I think right now it's hard to put Pittsburgh anything above C tier. Kansas City, even with the losses of Tyreek Hill, they're going to be an S tier as well. When you have Mahomes, you have Kelsey. I think Juju's going to work well in that system overall. Is more that underneath type option. As Kelsey works a bit more vertical, I think Juju's going to have more downfield opportunities in KC than what he's had in Pittsburgh in the last 2 years. They get Justin Reed from Houston. That was a really quality signing. They lose Tyron Matthew. I understand that, but overall, you have Mahomes. You're going to be an S tier. The Colts are a tough team for me to figure out. Can they get enough juice at the receiver position? Can some of the younger guys step up? Paris Campbell, Pittman is playing pretty well for them overall, but you get Matt Ryan. You have Jonathan Taylor, a strong offensive line. Overall, I don't know exactly where you want to put him here. It's going to be obviously in a higher tier. I think I'm going to go I'm gonna maybe call my shot here a little bit on A tier with the Colts. Defensively, maybe there's some question marks there overall. Darius Leonard had offseason surgery, but he should be good for week one. They're a tough team to figure out, but they were a good team last year that, obviously had that crazy loss to Jacksonville. With Carson Wentz, a quarterback who is just so unpredictable and such a headache. Did have highs, but a lot of lows. Matt Ryan is going to be that stabilizing force, kind of the anti Carson Wentz, but still bringing a lot of those big plays. And so I'll put them in A tier. Tennessee, they're going to be competitive. They're going to hang around. There's no question about that. But you do trade away an AJ Brown. You kind of wonder if they're going to get enough juice from their pass game. They were successful last year, even not having Derrick Henry for a stretch of time. Defensively, they're solid, but you do wonder not having that elite quarterback play, and you lose a top tier weapon in AJ Brown. Going to put them in B tier right now. Cleveland truly a wild card of wild cards here. The question of what happens to Deshaun Watson is the million or $230 million question. I'm going to assume that Watson misses a solid chunk of the season. What that looks like specifically is hard to say. Beyond that, though, this is a really good roster. And this is me trying to be the unbiased Steelers analyst here, but it is a really good roster. Great run game. I think Nick Chubb honestly is the best back in football right now. A strong offensive line. They add Amari Cooper. They retain David Njoku, get him to a long term deal coming off the tag there. Defensively, they're going to be strong. Obviously, with Miles Garrett, the secondary I think will be better and healthier overall. It kind of got off to a slow start last year and picked things up. So I'll put them in B tier. If Watson is able to play more, let's say majority of the season, then that might push them into A tier. And even if he gets back for late in the year, they're going to be in that mix. But for now, with the uncertainty of going from Watson to Jacoby Brissett, B tier for the Browns. Raiders solid overall. Defensively, probably some question marks there, but you had Devontae Adams. You have Derek Carr, who pretty underrated quarterback to me. Debating between A and B tier for them in that tough AFC West, though, that's going to be difficult. I'll go B tier, but they're a pretty borderline team. Bengals, like it or not, the defending AFC champs, got to go A tier for them. A great receiver trio in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, obviously Joe Burrow. Joe Mixon's been an underrated back. That offensive line continues to make progress, and it will get better. Defensively, they've had a really underrated unit with Sam Hubbard. Trey Hendrickson was excellent for them. Of course, Mike Hilton. Overall, Jesse Bates, there's some contractual issues with them right now, but it's an underrated defense overall. And so I'm going A tier with the Bengals. Denver with Russell Wilson. Have to see how all that looks. I think in that AFC West, again, that's a very competitive division to be in. I'm gonna go B tier with the boost of Wilson. But you do kind of wonder about maybe the offensive line overall, and they do have a great cornerback in Patrick Surtain Jr., but just maybe the overall, front seven, the overall source of pass rush and things like that. They do have again Surtain and Justin Simmons, but don't think they're going to be quite an A tier yet. Miami, you have Tua. You do add Tyreek Hill under new coach Mike McDaniel. I don't know exactly where to best fit the Miami Dolphins. I'll go C tier, kind of on that level and plane as Pittsburgh of about a 500 caliber team, but certainly a critical make or break year for Tua. He has the weapons, Gasecki and Tyreek Hill, obviously. So can they be able to find more traction, running the ball? That'll be, McDaniel's one of his core missions overall, doing that so well in San Francisco. So right now, C tier for the Dolphins. Jacksonville, things should be better post Urban Meyer. It's really hard to be any worse, and so Doug Peterson, I think, will have this team going in the right direction, but still a ways away. And so they're going to be in D tier, but I think maybe there are some small steps forward for the Jaguars. Chargers, man, Justin Herbert, an elite level quarterback. You do wonder why have they struggled to be able to put it all together, and so gonna lump them with the majority of the AFC West here in B tier, behind Kansas City in S tier. But just because it feels like every time you look at them on paper and say this is their year, it just hasn't come together for them. They're very good at charging things up, but it's hard to ignore the talent on paper. Wonder about some of the trench play. Can they get better there? That's going to be probably be their defining factor. And then Houston, don't want to forget about and dismiss Davis Mills. He played well for the difficult circumstances he was in last year, but a team really still in that rebuilding mode, and so they're going to be in D tier as well. So that's the group overall. I think a pretty good mix. You could argue Cincinnati and S tier. I'm sure I'll get some Bengals fans to say that. Listen, I think the Bengals are going to be the AFC North favorites this year, especially with the uncertainty in Cleveland. But I just think they're still going to be maybe a rung below the Bills and the Chiefs. And so for Pittsburgh being in C tier, you understand that very tough AFC North. You have the Ravens and Bengals in A tier, the Browns in B tier, and that could obviously change in a positive way for them if Deshaun Watson is suspended for less time than people think, or whatever the case is. And so that's what makes this division so, or conference, I should say, so competitive because there is just so much talent. Very few teams that are in that C and D tier. They're making up that above average group, and so that would make they're making up that above average group, and so that makes the AFC overall very daunting. And for Pittsburgh, probably looking at a wild card berth. So those are my rankings. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts and comments on my rankings and where would you place teams overall. So let me know those thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe if you have not done so already. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll talk to you soon.